Hello everyone, welcome back to YK Reviews. For today's video, it's going to be an in-depth spoiler review for the latest Sylvester Stallone show, Tulsaking. So let's get into it here. Now, with this show, this follows Sylvester Stallone's character Dwight, Manfredi, who just got released from prison after 25 years serving for the mafia, and only to be entered into a brand new world and be sent to Tulsa because of the family that he was working for 25 years ago needs him to go to Tulsa basically. And so he's going into Oklahoma, Tulsa, fresh new state, fresh new world after 25 years in prison, and he has to make a living over there by himself. And I'm going to say this right off the bat, I loved this show. This was a fantastically written, fantastically directed, well choreographed show from episode 1 to episode 9. It was a 9-episode show and it's been renewed for season 2. I did mention that in one of my weekly entertainment news videos. I will link that somewhere up here, but this just was well done in terms of the storyline and the plot of the show. Every episode is memorable. Every episode it's just got fantastic drama, fantastic dialogue, fantastic tension throughout the show. So it was really well written, this show, and it was a fun time. Sylvester Stallone is a fantastic actor and a really great character in this show as Dwight Manfredi, and what he brings to the table, you just get such a dynamic perspective from his range, because with him, he's, like I mentioned, he's playing this character of Dwight Manfredi, who just came out of prison after 25 years serving for the mafia, keeping his lips tight. And so from the very first episode, when he is getting sent to Tulsa, he's in this brand new world. He gets picked up by this Uber driver, and he's learning about the iPhones, he's learning about all this new technology, he's learning about this new world that he's living in right now, and he picks up the pace very quickly in terms of how he's going to establish himself in Tulsa. You just get him and this Uber driver that he gets picked up and is part of his crew now, making a name for themselves, getting the new car with the way they handled that, going into this weed shop and basically taking over, and that's how he establishes his business ventures. He's very smart, he's very clever in the way he thinks and the way he adapts and the way he goes into his businesses, and how he's able to become the centerpiece of this business that's being run in terms of the weed shop. So with Sylvester Stallone, he is written so fantastically, and for his age too, really holds up his end of the bargain when it comes to the action scenes, the choreograph, the fight scenes. He does a fantastic job. This is probably one of Sylvester Stallone's standout shows, even though he's not done a show before, but in terms of his filmography, cinematography, his movies and shows, this, I feel he did a really great job, and this is one of his best performances on screen that I've seen in a couple of years here. I really loved his role in this, and I am so excited that they renewed it for season 2. With the way he interacts with characters, with the way he recruits people. In the first episode, he's going into the bar, and that's how he meets the bar owner, and he is established into the crew. You get to see him as the show progresses, as each episode progresses, how he's developing and how he becomes who he is, when you've got his softer side when it comes to his daughter and how he protects her, and he taking a prisoner attitude, as in one particular episode, in one particular scene, he just stomps this guy's head in and just kills him right off the bat after finding out that he's been threatening his daughter while he was away. So he's just got this tough mentality, mafia vibe to him, and how he just handles everything. His love interest when it comes to Stacy, the detective, the police officer, how he's handling that, how he's just so gentle, kind towards her, how he's a calm person when it comes to the rest of society, because throughout the episode, throughout the show, he's just picking up people, not in a creepy way, but there's this horse that he has a soft spot for. He meets this girl in a cafe and just introduces the horse to her. She becomes part of this horse breeding ranch that she now works for the owner of the ranch, how he interacts with her, how he's building that developing relationship with her, when he goes back to New York and how he's interacting with the family. Like, you see so many different sides to him as the show progresses throughout the season. So with Sylvester Stallone, I think this is probably one of my favorite performances of him in his career, aside from like Rocky, Rambo, and like other projects. This for me is one of my favorite performances from Sylvester Stallone. And so like we move on to that, and then you have two different aspects in terms of the show and where the direction is going with. Like, you've got the mafia aspect now that he's out of prison, 25 years. He wants answers. He wants like his severance package, basically. He wants to be rewarded for like not spilling the beans, keeping a tight lip, and that basically isn't being reciprocated for him, and he's learning more of what happened while he was away. So you have that side of the mafia aspect when he goes back to New York, especially for his brother's funeral, and you have him versus this character called Chicky, which I thought his character was really well written. Like, his story arc, his character arc over the season, as he's like with his father, he's trying to help his father and help Sylvester Stallone's character, branching together, working together, trying to get the family back on track, to then just slowly turning, seeing how his father embraces Sylvester Stallone's character more than he embraces himself, how he's just more siding with Sylvester Stallone's Dwight character versus siding with him. So you see his turn, his progression, even to the point where this Chicky character is defending Dwight after Dwight just punches one of the other characters in the mafia in the face in the very first episode. How he defends him, how he's trying to keep peace, but then just he starts turning, he starts being manipulated, and he's starts becoming more resistant towards Dwight. And that, I feel like, was very well written, because in the latter sub part of the season, you see him start killing the head of the family, his own father, drowning him, taking, I think it was a wig, or I think he shaved his head, I'm not too sure about that part, but he just like, he goes bold. Now he's the head of the family, now he wants revenge. My only criticism with that aspect was in the finale, he goes to Tulsa to confront Dwight, he wants to kill Dwight, he gets confronted by Dwight and the crew, and basically is just told to go home, and that was sort of it. You kind of just ended the story there. My guess is that this is going to lead to season 2, Dwight versus Chicky, in terms of like battle for supremacy. That's my theory and my guess, because it was sort of just abrupt and cut short, and we didn't really get to see like a satisfying conclusion when it comes to the two of them. But the mafia aspect and just finding out how dangerous they are, because once Dwight gets his family involved, once he starts getting his daughter involved, his daughter's husband gets beaten up and attacked in an alleyway, she starts getting random calls of somebody breathing. So you see this threatening aspect of them, and you see the danger that they impose. So they're really well written, and I really like that. And then you get to see more of like a backstory, because they didn't delve too much into like Dwight and the mafia and like their history and what they've done in the past, but you do get one flashback scene in the finale of why Dwight went to prison, how he protected him. You see Cheeky and that character that Sylvester Stallone punched in the first episode, basically torturing this guy, trying to beat him up and handcuff him and burn him for not paying up. And so Sylvester Stallone had to get involved, stopping them, only for like the apartment building to catch on fire, and then that leads to the police arriving, Sylvester Stallone getting arrested and spending 25 years in prison for that. So you get that one flashback sequence of that. However, nothing was delved too deep into like the history of them, how he got recruited, or like how he was involved in the family and like what they did, how he became a made man, because he was mentioned quite a bit in the show that Dwight Manfredi, Sylvester Stallone, is a made man, you can't touch him. It's mentioned in the episodes as the show progresses, but then nothing really is explored more, which I'm guessing that they are saving that for season 2, because you don't want a Miss Marvel situation where you have two plots going in and not being explored too much. So I'm hoping, and my guess is that they are waiting for season 2 and just having that explored more, because that is a really great written aspect in terms of that show when it comes to the mafia and the danger that they impose and like what they're going to do with Dwight's family and what Dwight can do to them. I really like that back and forth as they did throughout the show. So that I'm really excited to see what they're going to do and the potentials that they have for that. And once you delve deep into the story and the plot, you have the main component or the main key part of the component when it comes to like that police officer Stacy. So he meets her in the very first episode. He shows her a good time, first in a strip club and then in his hotel room. They start getting a better relationship, better understanding of one another as each episode progresses. Once she figures out who he is, she's more like, she has this dilemma and this internal conflict throughout the show. She calls him a lot, she like talks to him, she tries to help him, he tries to help her. Like they start developing a more of a informant police type relationship rather than a boyfriend girlfriend type relationship, because you don't really see that side of them a lot. You see it in the first episode, but then when they are together, when they do see each other, it's either her trying to give him information or her confronting him about something or asking questions about a certain thing, like if he killed somebody or why he's in Tulsa, that kind of stuff. So it's not really sort of a physical relationship, it's more of like an intellectual, informative information relationship, if that makes sense. But then her key aspect when she gets involved, and because her thing, she's solely focused on just getting Waltrip, this biker gang leader who's in charge of like the balloons and like all the criminal activity in Tulsa. Her sole focus is going for that. So then Dwight gets involved and it's like this three-way battle of police, Dwight's gang, Waltrip's gang, all getting involved until like the final 2 episodes when Waltrip shoots her in the stomach, basically having this shootout when Waltrip goes after Dwight and her. And so then she finally like gets him and gets the police involved, the FBI involved regarding his money and all that kind of information there. And then you think that in the final episode, the finale, she and Dwight have this little back and forth when she's in the hospital, and then he sends her money after stealing Waltrip's money, only for her to make that turn, because basically at the end of the finale, at the end of the episode, we find out that she basically is going to be reinstated. She's not going to lose her job for basically speaking to like Dwight's character throughout the show. And so you see her making the decision. She basically informed them of Dwight's action, of him basically bribing her, giving her the money after stealing it from Waltrip. She gets the FBI, the police involved. She lets them know about that. And at the end of the episode, the end of the finale, at the end of the season, Sylvester Stallone's character gets arrested because of this. She makes that betrayal in his eyes. But if you look at her from her perspective, it's her career. He's not really like a love interest for her. She has to focus on her career. She has to pick her career over him. I don't see it as a betrayal in my eyes. I think it was a bit of a twist and a bit of a shock that she did reveal that, and they found out that he gave her the money. But I get where she's coming from in her terms of her perspective. So then she has this turn, she has this betrayal. She turns over Dwight Manfredi. He gets arrested at the end of the season, and now he's being taken off in front of his daughter again, by the way. So that is also going to be playing a huge aspect in next season. But this is like a big twist, a big turn with her character. So then in season 2, my guess is that her character is going to be focused on being the one that either helps try and get him released, or something else is going to be at play here. But then she's going to be a huge aspect. But I really enjoyed her character. I think she did a really good job in terms of like her character arc and her storyline when it comes to like her versus Waltrip, her versus and Manfredi. Like, it was really well written character and a really good development in terms of the plot as the season progresses with her. So then you've got basically the supporting cast for Dwight. So you've got the 3 standouts, basically. The 4 standouts. You've got Armand, you've got Bodhi, you've got Mitch, and you've got Tyson. And the way he gets first introduced to them and how he starts developing that relationship with one another. My favorite one is Bodhi, because in the very first episode, when he goes to Tulsa, he goes to this weed shop, has this interaction with the workers, the security guards, comes back in and throws the bottle at the security guard.
Anybody got the time?
Listen, mister, I told you. Oh my God!
And the very last episode, you have this same security guard backing him, ready to like go on this shootout with the biker gang. So it was just very funny with the way he interacts with everybody there. And when you meet Bodhi, he's like the big boss of the weed shop, and you come to find out as the episodes, as the seasons progress, he's sort of like this little hacker super rich. You sort of get his perspective, like why is he just going along with everything. You come to find out because what I noticed as the show progresses, as the season progresses, especially in the final episode, all these characters have this like sort of open heart to heart with Sylvester Stallone's character of how he's changed their life, how he's made everything better for them. So with Bodhi especially, he has this like heart to heart, but not with Dwight, but he explains this to every other character of that Dwight's like turned his life upside down. He's been raided by the FBI, he's been kidnapped, he's had a gun pointed at him multiple times, but he's a businessman and he's like making him more richer, making him like life so much better. So you had this with Bodhi's character, and Bodhi's character too is that he's just so nonchalant with everything. He's like useful, he's helpful, he's the one that basically caused Waltrip's downfall by stealing the money in the final episode. And then you've got Tyson, which I really liked his character arc too. He's just this driver, chauffeur sort of character. He's developed, he's evolved, as he mentions in the final episode, of how he was just some random driver, like living the life his parents kind of wanted, to now being his own man. And then the best duo relationship that I really enjoyed was with the bar owner Mitch and Dwight. And as I mentioned, like again in the final episode, he sort of opened up to his dad about how he just knew this guy was going to change his life, give him like a better life. And you really see that, you really see the connection they have with one another, and they develop their friendship, they have each other's back, they work together to like kill one of the bikers in the earlier episodes. So that connection they have, and the connection he builds with people in the Tulsa city, was well done and well written. And you have that camaraderie at the end. Like Sylvester Stallone is known for his like motivational speeches, especially in the Rocky movies, and with this one he does it again. He does a great motivational speech to everybody. Like you see his crew at the end in the final episode, the bar crew, that the workers from the weed shop, the Indians that work in the weed, not factory but land there to like build the weed. You've got Mitch, you've got Bodhi, you've got Tyson, even like Tyson's father getting involved in the early episodes with that big fight sequence, and the music choices they have in the fight sequences in the finale and in that earlier season was just picture perfect music choices. So Sylvester Stallone has that aura about him in this show. Sylvester Stallone has that thing where he's able to like make these connections, and this perfect sequence too in the final episode when you've got Armand finally opening up to Dwight, because Armand's character arc too was, I found, really fascinating and really well developed too. He starts off being this sort of coward who you find out ran away from the mafia after the whole incident 25 years ago, hiding in Tulsa, being scared of Dwight's character when he finally shows up, to having the balls now to just confront his past, finding that courage, and just that really well written scene there of like him opening up to Dwight, telling him how he just froze in fear psychologically all those years ago. Now he's ready to like face his demons, ready to like go to war with Dwight. I really like that scene in the finale between the two of them. So these characters are just really well tied together. The camaraderie that they come up with throughout the show, the friendship that they have, even when Bodhi, after being raided by the FBI, captured by the FBI, coming back, them knowing they had his back, took all the money. It's just really great sequences, great dialogue, great connection, great development in terms of like the character arcs and the friendship that they have. And even like the part of the scene where like they're practicing the shooting, and like that female character, I forgot her name off the top of my head, confronting Dwight about him turning everybody's life upside down, I thought was really well written as well. Like the characters, they have great sequences, they have great dialogue, and the confrontation that they have when they are confronting Dwight is perfectly written too. But then with the big plot, the big show, the big lead up to the whole season is Dwight's gang versus the biker gang, Waltrip's gang. With the way they built up Waltrip's character, him going from this dangerous biker leader, killing off like informants, killing off people that are getting in his way, finding out that he's bribing cops. He's this powerful person in Tulsa. He's like the king of all drug trades. Even when they first introduce his character, he's just in this scene where you have the FBI raiding this person's house. They've got this house surrounded. This guy blows himself up, and Waltrip's just there on his bike watching the whole thing like he's part of the FBI crew. So you have this factor of him being this really clever, controlling, egotistical maniac, where as the show progresses, when he finally gets face to face with Dwight sending his biker gang, he has no remorse. He'll kill anybody that's in his way. So the dynamic has, like, the tension is building between Dwight's crew and Waltrip's crew, even where, as I mentioned earlier, him killing that police officer there, and that final sequences where they finally go to the bar just to kill off everybody after he finds out all his money is gone. I really like that sequence. Like I said, the music choice in that fight scene, the shootout, then Dwight versus him, and the way Dwight kills him off was really great. Only thing is I wish they'd written him more, had more of a an arc where they show his, like, violent nature, his true nature, because he's sort of like a background character in some of the episodes where he'll send people to do the dirty work, but you don't get, like, a real threat from him, which I wish that they had more of that. But overall, like, the actual plot for the whole season running between Dwight building himself up, building the connections up, becoming an established force, versus Waltrip and his biker gang, I thought really held down well, and the tension that they built throughout the season, the drama that they had as the season progresses between the two gangs, I thought made the season a great show and a great high drama, high intensity season type show. Overall, I think this is a thoroughly entertaining show, a thoroughly great written, directed, choreographed show that will have you on the edge of your seat, will have you enjoying every single episode. Every episode is memorable. Some of the runtimes in the episodes go like to 30 to 40 minutes, so some of the episodes are quite short, but what's packed inside the episodes is worth the watch for me. So I have to highly recommend this show. If you haven't seen it, I definitely recommend the show. Obviously everything's been spoiled if you've watched the whole video, but this is one show that you shouldn't miss out on. And if you have seen it, let me know down in the comment section below your thoughts, your opinions of what you thought overall in terms of this show, and are you excited for season 2? Let me know down in the comment section below. And if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button, like button, hit that notification bell so that you don't miss out on any future episodes here. We'll be doing a lot of, like, in-depth reviews, in-depth spoiler reviews of shows and movies coming out, so hit the subscribe button so that you don't miss out on the videos. And also, I have got a Twitter, link is in the description down below, so go ahead and follow me there. But thank you so much for watching, thank you so much for listening. This is YK Reviews. Peace.